We begin by telling you that the Nigeria Governors Forum has pledged to collaborate with the legislative arm of government in the ongoing constitutional amendment. The governors pledged after its meeting in Abuja last night, where they hosted the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, who briefed them on the progress of the amendments. According to the communique issued by the forum after the meeting, Kalu, who is the chairman of the Committee on the Review of the Constitution, emphasized the importance of collaboration between the forum and the committee. He proposed the establishment of a one-stop shop framework to align state-level priorities with the constitutional review process. Also speaking with journalists after the meeting, the Deputy Speaker said that the lawmakers will soon be embarking on regional and zonal visitation to get the full buy-in of the state houses of assembly. Now, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is set to present the appropriation bill for the year 2025, expected to hit several trillions of naira to the Lagos State House of Assembly today, Thursday, November 21st, 2024. Now, this budget size is expected to be above the 2.267 trillion naira in 2024. The State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho, who disclosed this in a statement, did not add the exact figure to be presented. Recall that Governor Sanwo-Olu had on January 18, 2024, signed the 2.267 trillion naira 2024 appropriation bill of Lagos State into law, ushering in a new expenditure cycle. And now, similarly, the Akwa Ibom State Executive Council has approved a draft budget estimate of 955 billion naira for the 2025 fiscal year. This was contained in a statement issued by the State Commissioner of Information, Ini Ememobong, after the council's meeting presided over by Governor Umo Eno. Now, a breakdown of the estimate shows that while 300 billion naira is for recurrent expenditure, 655 billion naira is for capital project. Compared to 2024, the recurrent expenditure represents a 14% decrease, while the capital expenditure is a 13% increase. And now to security matters. President Bola Tinubu has called on the militaries across Africa to unite in addressing insecurity and other threats to the continent's unity and stability. Now, he gave this charge when he officially declared open the second edition of the Africa Military Games at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Tinubu, represented at the event by Vice President Kashim Shettima, described the event as a historic platform to foster unity, camaraderie, and military cooperation across the continent. The Games, with the theme Enhancing Military Cooperation in Africa Through Sport, marks a revival of the tradition initiated over 20 years ago in Nairobi, Kenya. The president reasoned that no single nation can tackle its security challenges alone. The Nigerian Senate has praised the military for their swift response to Lukarawa terrorist attacks in Kebbi State and parts of the Northwest. Lawmakers urged the military to partner with local communities to establish early warning systems and prevent future incursions. During Wednesday's plenary, Senator Abdullahi Yahaya, representing Kebbi North, sponsored a motion highlighting the threat of Lukarawa's expanding operations. Now, senators warned that failure to act decisively could destabilize other parts of northern Nigeria. Senate President Godswill Akpabio emphasized the importance of collaboration between citizens and security agencies to curb terrorism and maintain national stability. Now, the chamber called for continued vigilance in the affected areas.
For bringing this motion, and this is the way it starts. And if it is not nipped in the bud, it will spread terror across many parts of this country. So I also want to use this opportunity because from the body of your motion, you pointed out that the Nigerian military moved swiftly and they were able to dislodge them from the communities that they kill people and occupied. And so while we commend the military, we want the military to continue to maintain their presence in those regions in order to forestall a further incursion into the country. of this terrorist group. So, and I thank all my colleagues for their contributions. The security of lives of Nigerians is important to all of us, and security belongs to all. So thank you for bringing this, and I hope these motions that we have made today and all the resolutions so far will help to forestall the new group from gaining prominence in the country like all previous groups had done. Thank you so much.
On urgent need for the federal government to take stringent measures to stop the infiltration of a group of violent terrorists known as Lakurawa from entrenching themselves in some northwestern parts of Sokoto and Kebbi states. Senate is aware that a group of terrorists from neighboring Burkina Faso and Mali known as Lakurawa has infiltrated the country through the Nigeria-Niger border at Ilela, Tangaza, Silami local government areas of Sokoto state and are there, and from there are attacking communities in Augi and Ariwa local governments in Kebbi state. Senate recalls that this violent gang of terrorists had raided and dispossessed these communities prior to the large-scale invasion of Mera, a village in Augi local government, on November 8, 2024, killing more than 20 people and fleeing with their livestock amounting to hundreds of millions of naira. Senate is aware that Kebbi State government promptly responded by sending a delegation with relief materials to the affected villages and assistance to families of the deceased.
Meanwhile, the National Counter-Terrorism Center has said that terrorist groups are using young girls as sex slaves and suicide missions, wreaking havoc in various parts of the country. The center's national coordinator, Major General Adamu Laka, made this known in Abuja at the launch of a technical assistance project on promotion and support for the rights and needs of victims of terrorism through the implementation of the model legislative provisions. Now, according to him, women, children, and youth have been disproportionately affected over the years. He also added that the center has seen children abducted and forcibly trained to fight, young girls used in suicide missions and exploited as sex slaves, and survivors left with deep scars of trauma and stigmatization. Let's stay with the Parliament a bit, where the Senate has removed the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar, over alleged gross misconduct. Now, this decision was made in pursuant to Section 157, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, which empowers the Senate to remove key public officials following due process. The sacking followed a closed-door session lasting over 1.5 hours. Upon resumption of plenary, the Senate announced that more than 84 lawmakers supported the decision. The motion leading to Umar's removal was sponsored by the Senate leader, Akwa Ibom, who highlighted the pivotal role of the CCT in maintaining high standards of morality and accountability in government.
Accordingly, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the Senate resolves to invoke and activate the constitutional provision as enshrined in Section 157, subsection 1, by forwarding an address supported by two-thirds majority of the Senate, which shall be acted upon by Mr. President for the official removal from office of Mr. Yakubu Danladi Umar as the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Mr. President,
is there any senator who is opposed to the removal from office of Mr. Danladi Umar as chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal for acts unbecoming of the holder of such office? None. Is it the view of the Senate? Will the Senate now confirm the invocation and activation of the constitutional provision of Section 157, subsection 1, as enshrined in our 1999 Constitution as amended, removing the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal from office as a result of acts of misconduct and acts unbecoming of the holder of such an office. Those in support of this motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Earlier on, we're joined by a legal practitioner, Kabir Akimbolu, to discuss this from a legal perspective.
The votes by the National Assembly is inchoate. They have voted, it's like a suggestion or a proposal to the president to now assent that, okay, I hereby remove him. Okay. Senate cannot remove him. Okay. The provision is dependent on the action of the president to give effect to that motion or resolution on the floor of the House. So, but it will sound ludicrous that when 2/3 of the House, more than 2/3, because 2/3 of the House will give us like 72 or thereabout, we have 84. All the people that are present, all the senators that were present, they voted in support of the removal of the chairman of the Code of Conduct. So it will be a bit ludicrous, you know, or preposterous to commonsensical reasoning for the president to now say, no, I want to keep him. It will mean that the president has some other ulterior motive for keeping him if the senators who also sanction his appointment.
Nigeria's Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, says that the federal government will continue to collaborate with states to implement effective justice sector reforms aimed at addressing the shortcomings and inadequacies within the sector for the good of the nation. Now, Fagbemi made the statement in Ilorin, the capital of Kwara State, during a justice sector reform conference where he informed stakeholders that the federal government's efforts are aimed at implementing the national policy on justice, which identifies the root causes of the failures observed within the sector. The governor of Kwara State and some other stakeholders present expressed confidence that with adequate collaboration among relevant authorities, the reforms will effectively address ongoing issues in the justice sector.
We clearly recognize that Nigeria practices a federal system of government, which envisages a synergetic relationship between the center and the subnationals, otherwise known as the federating units. It is on this basis that we continue to engage with the colleagues, my colleagues from states, in order to come up with reform strategies to address our common challenges.
This conference couldn't have come at a better time as President Bola Tinubu mobilizes the Honorable Attorney General and his team to rejig the system for better outcomes. I have confidence that the JSRT will address all pending issues on judicial reforms from a position of knowledge and patriotism, and in a way that strengthens public confidence in the judicial system.
Now, of course, you would know that one of the reasons why we experience congestion in correctional facilities, for instance, or delays in the prosecution of criminal cases, or even in civil justice, is because we have failures of coordination within the criminal justice system. So one important, critical criminal justice agency or justice agency is not speaking well with another justice agency. Both discharge very, very important functions in the system, but because they don't speak to one another, things fall through the cracks.
Now, a bill to amend the Constitution of Nigeria and the nation's Electoral Act to guarantee voting rights for Nigerians living abroad has passed the second reading in the nation's House of Representatives. The bill, which was sponsored by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and one other lawmaker, seeks to respond to calls from Nigerians living outside the country to ensure that they are given adequate opportunity to participate in the electoral process from the diaspora. Now, following no objection from lawmakers, the House referred the bill to the House Committee on Constitutional Review for further legislative action.
For an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Cap C 2(3), laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to provide voting rights for Nigerians in diaspora and related matters, HB 1513. I so move.
Rise to second the motion that the bill be read the second time. As a second.
Bill referred to the Committee on Constitutional Review for further legislative action.
And now, following allegations of graft against the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, by human rights activist Deji Adeyanju, the Arewa Youths for Peaceful Coexistence has condemned the claims, describing them as baseless and lacking any element of truth. The group, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, rejected the allegations of corruption and land grabbing, saying that the minister has shown uncommon commitment to enforcing the Abuja Master Plan and embarking on wide-scale reforms needed to reposition the Federal Capital Territory to its initial design.
We categorically reject the baseless allegation of corruption and land grabbing made against the FCT minister. Chief by Sanwo-Olu Wike, ongoing urban renewals effort are in strict alignment with the Abuja Master Plan, developed under the administration of Nasiru El-Rufai and approved by the former President Olusegun Obasanjo. His commitment to restoring order, equity, and lawful governance in Abuja is beyond question. These reforms are not only necessary, but have been executed with transparency and fairness, as evidenced by the strategic reclamation of illegal acquired land and relocation of affected individuals.
Now, a group of pensioners on the auspices of Abia Pensioners Forum have held a 3-day prayer to invoke God's intervention in their unpaid arrears by the state government. Now, the group on Wednesday concluded their prayers, which is the latest approach to demanding for the payment of some old pensions. The leader and convener of the body enumerated reasons the state government should revisit the purported memorandum of agreement.
And let God that he will pay all that he has promised he will pay. Let the angel of God go and fuel it. The angel of God go and remind him that these promises must come to pass.
He should not go back on his promises to us. Because for us, we are also not going to go back in supporting him.
That's right.
We are not going to go. We are saying this is a little area. Please revisit it. When you were making these promises to us, you never told us we are going to sign any agreement. You said even before 31st of December last year that you complete this payment. And for whatever that happened along the way, we gave him all the benefit of that. And we are so grateful to him that even our pension, monthly pension, has become regular.
Now, the life coaching space in Nigeria is vibrant and evolving, with a growing recognition of its value and personal and professional development. As practitioners mark the 6th Africa Coaching Week, there will likely be an increased focus on establishing standards and enhancing the professionalism of life coaching practices.
Coaching space in Nigeria and Africa has been experiencing significant growth and evolution in recent years. Life coaching focuses on personal development, helping individuals set and achieve personal goals. The Africa Coaching Week shines a spotlight on Africa's wisdom, tradition, and modern ingenuity, blending the continent's unique heritage with transformative coaching insights to inspire the world.
Well, this is our 6th year that we're doing this. Every year we do the African Coaching Week, and it is really about celebrating this incredible intervention called coaching and getting people to understand that if you want to be everything that you were created to be, if you want to optimize your performance and your productivity, you need coaching.
Coaching has been said by the PwC as the 2nd fastest growing industry, and we want to be able to tap into it and ensure that our Nigerian, our African coaches are able to get the respect that they deserve and get all of that part.
As more Nigerians seek personal and professional development, the demand for coaching services has increased. This is particularly true among young professionals and entrepreneurs looking to enhance their skills and navigate the competitive job markets.
It's becoming a thing because people are realizing the importance of us as Africans telling our own stories, being authentic, and with us having coaches who are brilliant in certain fields.
We have so much to give to the rest of the world, and we don't need to wait for a European or an American life coach to come and tap into our wisdom and then give that to the rest of the world.
The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the shift towards online coaching, making services more accessible. Many African coaches now offer virtual sessions, which has expanded their reach to a global.
Now, Nigeria is making significant strides towards addressing environmental concerns while turning waste into wealth. The country's innovative approach to waste management is not only reducing pollution, but also combating climate change, with a particular focus on methane reduction. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
Nigeria is leading the way with a transformative solution to both waste management and climate change. With a growing population and increasing waste generation, the country has turned its abundant waste resources to create cleaner, more sustainable alternatives. At the heart of this initiative is methane reduction, a critical issue currently being discussed at the COP29 summit.
As you know, Lagos is already blazing that trail under the Global Methane Pledge, which Nigeria signed to in Dubai, in 2021. Lagos is the jurisdictional hub for that because the emphasis is the waste, which we have a lot of organic waste, that instead of you looking at the option of incineration, which is like wasting it and causing environmental damage, why don't you harness it and use it for vital purpose and even attract climate finance?
Methane, a potent greenhouse gas, is primarily emitted by landfills and waste dumps. While some experts recommend incinerators as a solution, others hold a differing view.
We are struggling with waste management in Nigeria, but then I just have to note as well that not just Nigeria, some of the best waste management systems are also struggling to meet their waste demands, you understand? But however, incineration is not the solution. And then these companies that come with these proposals for incineration tell you, oh, they know that for Africa, you're struggling with your waste and you're struggling with energy. Oh, this is a silver bullet solution, like killing two birds with one stone. But all that glitters is not gold. Those who have gone into this trajectory have stories that you will not like. And the first incinerator in Africa is in Addis Ababa. They promise to have more incinerators. They spend so much money. And after that, it has been a disaster. We could learn from that and not go into that anymore. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of resources, and it even takes away jobs. We have waste pickers who need jobs. And then when we speak about zero waste solutions, composting, this provides jobs for people, incomes for people. An incinerator does not. Some cities have been found to go into debts because they have an incinerator.
Although transitioning from oil dependence to waste-based energy will not happen overnight, Nigeria has the potential to develop a robust waste-to-wealth economy. In Azerbaijan, for News Central, I am Bettina Nweli.
Many thanks for staying with us on the news. Now we continue in West Africa, where Mali's junta chief has sacked civilian Prime Minister Shogel Kokala Maiga and the government days after Maiga issued a rare criticism of the military rulers. The West African country, plagued by jihadist and separatist violence, has been led by the military since back-to-back coups in 2020 and 2021. In June 2020, the junta promised to organize elections and hand over power to civilians by the end of March 2024, but later postponed elections indefinitely. Maiga, who was appointed by the military in 2021 on Saturday, publicly condemned the lack of clarity regarding the end of the transition to civilian rule. Now, he said the confusion could pose serious challenges and the risk of going backwards. And now, Southern African leaders have resolved to extend for another year the presence of regional troops deployed to fight rebels in conflict-torn Eastern Congo. They also pledged to work toward peace in Mozambique, where disputed elections stoked unrest. The leaders were meeting in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, for an extraordinary summit under the umbrella of the Southern African Development Community, a bloc of 16 countries that includes the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, regional powerhouse South Africa committed close to 3,000 troops for the SADC mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which were deployed last December. Just over 2,000 more are from Tanzania and Malawi.
Summit extended the mandate of the SADC mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo by 1 year, continuing the regional response to address the prevailing unstable security situation in Eastern DRC. Summit extended condolences to the government and the people of the Republic of Mozambique for the lives lost during the post-election violence.
We remain grateful to member states and salute our gallant forces who protect our territorial integrity, independence, freedom, sovereignty, and the collective security of our region.
Now, Congolese opposition parties have urged citizens to protest potential constitutional reforms under President Felix Tshisekedi, fearing the changes could extend his time in power. The ruling party has called for a constitutional amendment since October, with Tshisekedi promising or proposing a commission to draft a constitution tailored to Congolese realities. Opposition leaders have deemed these plans unjustified, inopportune, and unconstitutional. The current constitution, adopted by referendum in 2006 and revised in 2011, limits the president to 2 5-year terms. Any amendment requires approval by referendum or 60% of parliament. Tshisekedi, re-elected in December despite opposition disputes, faces echoes of 2015 unrest, when protests against then-President Joseph Kabila's term extension led to deadly clashes. The opposition warns similar tensions could arise.
Forces politiques et sociales, porteuses des aspirations profondes du peuple congolais, après avoir suivi avec consternation M. Félix Tshisekedi sur sa volonté de changer la Constitution, déclarons solennellement notre opposition à ce changement ou cette révision de la Constitution, contrairement aux affirmations mensongères de M. Tshisekedi, prétendant que la Constitution du 18 février 2006 serait l'œuvre des étrangers. Eh bien, celle-ci est issue du travail des Congolais. Aucune disposition de la Constitution du 18 février 2006 n'empêche M. Tshisekedi Tshilombo d'améliorer les conditions sociales du peuple congolais. Notamment en garantissant une rémunération décente pour nos militaires, une rémunération décente pour les policiers, les enseignants.
Still ahead on the news, Brazil to play leadership role as COP30 host. We'll bring you the details after the break. Now to stories outside the African continent. Brazil has pledged to play a strong role as host of COP30, focusing on climate issues like deforestation and fossil fuel agreements. Speaking at COP29 in Azerbaijan, Brazil climate envoy Ana Tony confirmed that Brazil will champion a phase-out of fossil fuels despite being Latin America's largest oil producer. She emphasized the need for a global debate on transitioning away from fossil fuels, including potential taxes on coal, oil and gas. Tony stated Brazil's commitment to leading by example, citing its history of addressing deforestation. Now, COP30 will follow COP29 in Azerbaijan and COP28 in the UAE, countries expanding fossil fuel production. Meanwhile, critics argue such hosts undermine climate goals, but Tony insists Brazil will push global cooperation to meet these critical challenges.
What I think people can count on Brazil very strongly is that we always face the problems we had happen with deforestation. We know we have a problem with deforestation. We were there the first ones to say, let us stop deforestation. The same we'll do with fossil fuel. But that agreement needs to be together with the other countries. And Brazil will play a very, very strong role on pushing together other countries to do so.
And this will be something.
So we don't have anything to prove to anybody. We know we want to continue leading by example. We don't know of any other emerging country that has such ambitious targets. And we'll do our best to bring everybody along. We know that for some countries this is harder, but in the end of the day, we are all extremely vulnerable to climate change. Brazil if we leave Baku without finalizing the NCQG, many countries may rethink their NDCs and say, okay, as we haven't come up with the money, perhaps I don't need to do my NDC. That's exactly what we don't want to happen. So the success of COP30 depends on the success of COP29. COP29 success depended on COP28. So our building blocks, and we hope in Brazil, as we have done on the G20, to bring a much broader perspective to finance than.
Now, leftist candidate Yamandu Osei has vowed to put Uruguay back on track if elected president in the November 24 runoff against ruling party candidate Álvaro Delgado. Representing the Frente Amplio coalition, Osei has pledged to govern in the way Uruguay needs, emphasizing a progressive agenda. Supporters have echoed his vision, with one highlighting Osei's commitment to a progressive path, alongside vice presidential candidate Carolina Cose. The runoff election has shaped up as a pivotal moment for Uruguay, with voters deciding between Osei's leftist policies and Delgado's conservative stance. The outcome could signal a shift in Uruguay's political landscape, reflecting broader regional trends in South America. Meanwhile, Osei's campaign continues to rally supporters with promises of change and progressive governance.
Y el Uruguay cada vez que crecía le tendía una mano a nuestra gente. Pero llegó el año 19 y nos pasó lo que nos pasó. Evidentemente no supimos entender o no entendimos del todo lo que nuestra gente nos estaba pidiendo. Y ahí fue cuando nos prometieron nuestros 5 mejores años de nuestras vidas. Y ustedes son conscientes. Y ustedes son conscientes de que en realidad estamos lejos de estar pasando por nuestros 5 mejores años de nuestra vida. Por ser del interior. Tenemos al Senado pronto para salir a la cancha y hacer lo que tenemos que hacer. Legislar, pero darle también y fundamentalmente la gobernabilidad que nuestro país necesita. Nosotros tenemos las condiciones como para hacernos cargo de nuestro país y tenemos las condiciones para seguir trabajando en base a acuerdos, pero también con actitud firme y decidida, llevar adelante las transformaciones que el país necesita.
Sin duda, el Frente Amplio tiene que ganar las elecciones porque este país tiene que cambiar sustantivamente después de 5 años de un gobierno que no ayudó a la gente para nada. Así que la esperanza es que ganamos.
Now, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has paid a state visit to Guyana, where 40% of the population is of Indian descent. During his meeting with President Irfan Ali in Georgetown, Modi signed agreements on agriculture, defense and hydrocarbons, highlighting Guyana's vast oil reserves. Modi stated that they have identified new initiatives to strengthen the cooperation to enhance trade and economic ties. He honored the contributions of Indians who arrived 180 years ago under indentured labor, calling their role in Guyana's development a matter of pride. And President Ali described the visit as significant for strengthening ties between the two nations. Meanwhile, the Minister for Natural Resources in Guyana, Vikram Bharat, also confirmed India's interest in Guyanese oil.
हमारे सहयोग को मजबूत करने के लिए कई नए इनिशिएटिव्स की पहचान की है। हमारे आपसी व्यापार और आर्थिक सहयोग को बढ़ाने के लिए हम निरंतर प्रयास करते रहेंगे। यह मेरे लिए और 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों के लिए अत्यंत गर्व का विषय है। जिस धूमधाम से यहाँ फगवा का पर्व मनाया जाता है, वह भारत और गयाना की संस्कृतियों के अद्भुत संगम को दर्शाता है।
Our discussions today were not only fruitful, but also reinforced our shared commitment to strengthening bilateral relations and to collaboratively address regional and global concerns. Needless to say, our cooperation and collaboration on issues of climate change, international security and peace, these are all key for both countries. The building of our human capital through the ITEC program will continue to be a key area of support from India to Guyana.
Now, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has stated that no international oil company, IOC, is exiting Nigeria despite recent divestments. NUPRC CEO Gbenga Komolafe characterized these divestments as portfolio rationalization, a common practice in many regions that allows for increased investment and local participation in the upstream sector. Now, he clarified that the media's portrayal of IOC's leaving is misleading, emphasizing that the industry is experiencing a normal restructuring process. Komolafe highlighted the Commission's commitment to regulatory transparency, noting that 4 divestments and 6 transactions received ministerial approval recently. He also mentioned the NUPRC's role in ensuring optimal crude supplies to domestic refineries and promoting decarbonization through initiatives like the gas flare commercialization program, reflecting a commitment to energy security and sustainability. Now, South Africa's Reserve Bank is expected to overlook a significant slowdown in inflation and opt for a modest interest rate cut of a 1/4 percentage point. All 20 economists surveyed by Bloomberg predict that Governor Leseja Kyango will reduce the rate from 8% to 7.75% during the Monetary Policy Committee announcement after 3 p.m. near Johannesburg. The vote is anticipated to be unanimous among the 6-member panel. Although annual inflation fell to 2.8% in October, below the central bank's target range of 3% to 6%, Elna Moolman from Standard Bank believes the bank will disregard this temporary dip. The rand has weakened near 3% against the dollar since Donald Trump's U.S. election win, raising concerns about increasing import costs and domestic price pressures. And to sports now, Borno State government has begun measures to ensure that the playing turf of the El Kanemi Sports Complex, Maiduguri, remains playable. The stadium is the home ground of Nigeria Premier Football League side El Kanemi Warriors. According to reports, the pitch has lost its green nature following the hot weather in that part of the state. The State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Comrade Saina Buba, started the process of wetting the ground often before and after games. Elkanami Warriors are billed to host Akwa United in the same ground for their Matchday 13 fixture on Sunday. Now, Ghana international Abdul Fattah Issahaku has successfully undergone surgery to address an injury sustained during Ghana's Africa Cup of Nations 2025 qualifier against Angola last Thursday. The Leicester City winger suffered a severe injury during the crucial match, leading to his substitution in the first half. As a result, Issahaku was unable to participate in Ghana's final Group F game against Niger and traveled to England for further assessment and treatment. The extent of the injury has been confirmed, with Issahaku facing a lengthy recovery period of 6 to 9 months after undergoing ACL surgery. And still in sports, NBA superstar LeBron James said he was taking an indefinite hiatus from social media after sharing a post which railed against negative coverage in U.S. media. James, who has some 212 million combined followers on his Instagram and X accounts, announced his break from social media after sharing a post by Rich Kleiman, the longtime agent of NBA star Kevin Durant. Now, Los Angeles Lakers ace James shared the post to his followers with a new word, commenting, "Amen." The 39-year-old then followed up that post to confirm he was leaving social media for now. It is not the first time James has stepped away from social media. The all-time record point scorer has taken breaks before, but usually to concentrate on his basketball. James has hinted at disaffection with online criticism following the Lakers' win over Utah on Tuesday, when Los Angeles rookie Dalton Netsch erupted from 37 points. Well, that's all on the news at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Now, we told you that governors and lawmakers met and committed to constitutional amendments, education reforms. We also mentioned that Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu will present the 2025 budget estimates today. And finally, we told you that Southern African leaders met to discuss post-election turmoil in Mozambique. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, StarTimes, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Wasugu.